All right, good morning again, and welcome back to another chapter of Our Daily Bread. I hope you've been enjoying this series. I know for me, I've learned quite a bit. We're going to continue talking about the tabernacle and all of its ways it's set up and what kind of meaning it may have that we can take from it today. Today we're looking at the bronze altar, the court of tabernacle, and the oil that was used for the lamp. Let's start our reading in verse 1. You shall make the altar of acacia wood 5 cubits long and 5 cubits broad. The altar shall be square, and its height shall be 3 cubits. Alright, so first of all, what does this look like? What does this look like? So the bronze altar was here. This is where they would put their sacrifices and burn it, and it had grating, as you can see, which we'll talk about in a second. 5 cubits here, probably about 6-7 feet each side, and about about 3 feet high, about a yard or so high. So that's what it looked like there. Now I'll try to include a picture of that as we continue to read. Nope, that's from last time. And you shall make horns for it on its 4 corners, and you see the horns there. Its horns shall be of one piece with it, and you shall overlay it with bronze. You shall make pots for it, and to receive its ashes, and shovels and basins and forks and fire pans. I was thinking, I don't know this for sure because it just came to my mind, but I wonder why they use bronze. Maybe because they're using it for sacrifices and fires. And gold tends to melt in fire. That's why you're refined by fire. Gold is refined by fire, but I'm thinking bronze has a higher melting point temperature. So that's probably why. Let's see here. You shall make all of its utensils of bronze. You shall also make for it a grating, a network of bronze, and on that net you shall make 4 bronze rings at its 4 corners. And you shall set it under the ledge of the altar so that the net extends halfway down the altar. And you shall make poles for the altar, poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with bronze. And the poles shall be through the rings, so that the poles are on 2 sides of the altar when it's carried. And that's what I was going to say. It's probably because when they move it and carry it, they have a way to pick it up. So well thought out. Because thinking making all that stuff and be like, how are we going to pick it up now? Because they move quite a bit, if you remember, in the desert. You shall make it hollow with boards, as it has been shown you on the mountain, so shall it be made. All right, now the court of the tabernacle. The court of the tabernacle we've looked at already. Is this area around the tabernacle here. So all this court area where you would enter here, but this is the court. So there you go. Have that image in your head as we continue to read. You shall make the court of the tabernacle. On the south side of the court shall have hangings of fine flour, linen, and 100 cubits long for one side. Its 20 pillars and their 20 bases shall be of bronze, but the hooks of the pillars and their fillets shall be of silver. And likewise for its length on the north side there shall be hangings 100 cubits long. And remember the north side, this is our east side where you enter, and that opens to the tabernacle. So the north side would be over here, and south side and the west side. So there you go. Alright, so where did I leave off? And in verse 12, and for the breadth of the court on the west side there shall be hangings for 50 cubits, with 10 pillars and 10 bases. The breadth of the court on the front of the east shall be 50 cubits. And the hangings for the one side of the gate shall be 15 cubits, with their 3 pillars and 3 bases. On the other side the hangings shall be 15 cubits, with their 3 pillars and 3 bases. For the gate of the court there shall be a screen 20 cubits long, of blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen. There we go again with that blue, purple, and scarlet, embroidered with needlework. It shall have 4 pillars with them 4 bases. All the pillars around the court shall be filleted with silver. Their hooks shall be of silver, and their bases of bronze. The length of the court shall be 100 cubits, and the breadth 50, and the height 5 cubits, with hangings of fine twined linen, and bases of bronze. All the utensils of the tabernacle for every use, and all of its pegs, and all the pegs of the court shall be of bronze. Again, giving you the size, because it said 100 cubits, and a breadth of 50 is bigger than a football field, as we talked about last time. So you see the shape of a football field here, an American football field, in relation to the actual tabernacle. This place is huge. So pretty impressive there. In verse 20, you shall command the people of Israel that they bring you pure beaten olive oil for the light, that a lamp may regularly be set up to burn in the tent of meeting, outside the veil that is before the testimony. Aaron and his sons shall tend it from evening to morning before Yahweh. It shall be a statute forever to be observed throughout their generation by the people of Israel. So first of all, before we talk about the oil being regularly set up, let's look at the fact that it's beaten olive oil. So you have a couple of options when you make an olive oil at this time. You can beat it like into a mortar and picture type deal by hand, which is far more cleaner than putting it in the olive press. The olive press tended to render a dirtier flame. It wasn't as clean and didn't last as long, and wasn't as valuable when you were selling it. Which brings up an interesting point, because if you look, I got a couple of notes here. If you look in Leviticus 24:2, let me see if I can turn there. So if you look right here, beaten olive oil, ripe olives, oil obtained from fresh ripe olives beaten in a mortar rather than crushed in a press would be a finer quality, burn with a bright clean flame and produce little smoke. Even today, oil from a lightly pressed olives is of higher quality than that produced from heavily pressed olives. If you know the story of Solomon, when he first came into being a king, there was another king in Tyre named Hiram. It says every year Solomon gave Hiram a present of about 120,000 gallons. Imagine that. Think of that in gallons of milk. 120,000 gallons of pure oil. And this was his agreement because he says, look, when he came into his kingdom, he reached out to him, and the king really liked David, his father, and they had a great relationship. He says, look, there's no one else that I know who can cut wood as better than the Sidonians. So if you do this for me, give me the much wood I need, and I'll provide food and olive oil for you. And the king was more than happy. He says, yes, this sounds great. I'll be excited to do so. So just to give you the extent to which Solomon was rich and had access, this is 120,000 gallons of beaten oil. This is not thrown into a machine anywhere. This is hand beaten, or maybe used by their feet or something like that. But it's not this rough process that they go through that makes it really dirty. So that is some pure oil. Another reference is, let me see, read the scripture. While Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 cores of wheat as food for his household and 20,000 cores of beaten oil. I don't want to go there, but let's go back here. Which was higher quality oil from beaten olive oils, as can be seen from our text verse and from this verse which we just looked at in Leviticus. This was much quality. Command the children of Israel that they bring up the pure olive oil. So you get a sense that it becomes pretty clear that this pure beaten olive oil was something he asked for this reason. Now, it's interesting also as we continue to reading that he says, let it be set up regularly in the tent of meeting outside the veil. So right outside the veil, let me put a picture up there for you. We can go here now. So let's look at this one. So here's the veil. Of course, this is not a real person, so don't think it's something strange there. But right outside the veil, here's the Holy of Holies here. And you have the lamps, you have the table of showbread, and you have the altar of incense. Of course, they needed some light. They didn't have electricity back then, and it's completely covered with these layers and layers of skin. So it'd be pretty dark in here, let alone the Holy of Holies. But there's no light in the Holy of Holies. Or is there? So I think we can imagine that this place, one, was filled with smoke from the altar of incense at times, but Yahweh himself would have been enough to illuminate that area. But going back to the light, he said continually. Now I can understand it being lit when they come in, or maybe at nighttime, because there's no light coming from outside over here on the east side. But he wanted to light continually. Again, it's not for practical purposes. This is symbolic of his light remaining on and it being taken care of through that tabernacle. So this little light of mine will let it shine all the time. And I think that's a great symbolism for that. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say this is what he's saying. I don't know. But it does match with the rest of Scripture. We shouldn't have our lights going in and out. He says, let this be continual light. And the first thing I thought of as a father is we turn our lights off if nobody's in there. We want to save electricity and save money. And I'm wasting a lot of oil, pure oil. We can save that oil. So I'm glad he told them that, because they probably would have been blowing it out and lighting it back again. Because it wasn't necessary. But he says, leave it burning. And Aaron and his sons shall be tended from evening to morning. From evening to morning, they shall make sure that light keeps burning before Yahweh. This is, matter of fact, this is a statute forever to be observed throughout their generations by the people of Israel. He says this is not just a one-time deal. Let that light keep burning. Again, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm excited to go through the tabernacle. I'm learning a lot myself. I know there's so much more that you probably know that I don't know. But I'm happy that we can together look at the Word and learn about who Yahweh is better, from the way he constructed his tabernacle in the court, and how meticulous he is, how careful he is in wanting to make sure it's done in the same pattern. So let's continue to glean what we can from these words as we continue our reading next time about the priest's garments in chapter 28. All right, thanks again for tuning in to our daily bread. May Yahweh bless you and keep you.